Hey y'all, and welcome to the final senior project episode of Raytown Redneck Outdoors. As many of you who actually know me know, this was my senior project so that I could pass my senior year. And so, this is supposed to be an outdoorsman vlog, but sadly I didn't get a good chance to actually do as much as I had originally planned to do. Yes, I do regret that. Oh well, stuff happens, I guess. So, with that being said, I would like to thank everybody at my school who said I could do this as my senior project. I would also like to thank my out-of-school mentor, my father, Dan Scott Sr., for all the help he did, along with my buddies who helped out with that camp out and all that. I am sorry for a couple things that happened during the videos that I didn't notice until after I'd already posted them. Anyways, so we got all that taken care of. So my next little bit is just a little bit of personal info. Alright, so I've been hunting and fishing all my life, and I've always considered it to be a lot of fun. It's not so much of a trophy, or they're not much of trophy sports to me. Personally, they're more of spiritual connection to nature, becoming one with the outdoors. And I think that is an essential part of every life there is. Whether you be, as I like to say, whether you be a yuppie, which is city boy, or you be like me, who's like halfway in between city, half yup, half hick, I guess. Then you got the hicks. I think everybody should have a little bit of outdoors because, inside like this, I wish I wasn't inside, but it's fairly late at night because I'm just now wrapping everything up because everything's due tomorrow. I think that it's a lot nicer outside. You're more one with nature when you're in a boat, in a tree stand, in a field, in a blind, being quiet, reflective. I mean, you're not constantly thinking about killing. I mean, honestly, a lot of the time when I'm up in that tree, or in that blind, or in that boat, or just out in the middle of the field somewhere, laying down, waiting for like a goose. But sadly, I didn't get to go goose hunting this year, or dove hunting. Anyways, you just think. I mean, that's one of the best places to think because you don't have as many distractions that you do here in modern society, like electronics and stuff like that. Even though, in my case, I kind of had to have a little bit of interference, but that was only a couple minutes at a time. Anyways, so, why do I hunt? You may ask. It's simple. We were put on this earth as the top of the food chain for a reason, and I don't think that we should sink down to the bottom of the food chain by eating just vegetables all the time. And, it's a good source of, like crappie, the main fish that I eat, and deer, they're both very healthy compared to beef, or I can't say it's healthier than salmon, sadly, but yeah, deer meat is more lean than beef, and a lot of beef you get these days is like injected with hormones and stuff. Deer meat, it's natural, as long as you don't like put out certain feeds that are used to like make their antlers bigger or something like that. Which brings me to another point. I do not appreciate hunters who just go for a big animal. They don't settle for less, and that's all they want is the head. Granted, yes, at my house I have a couple mounted deer in my house, but we get rid of all the meat that we can to be used as food for our family. Then we do all that other nonsense. We don't do that with every deer, otherwise we'd have multiple deer. Sadly, this year, for a personal standpoint, it was not very successful. It was not successful at all. I think the only thing that I killed was a possum that I hit with my truck the other night, sadly. But, it was, weather-wise, it was cold for all the stuff that I did. So, on with another question. Let's see, what would a good question be? If I had any preference of a weapon, what would it be? I'm just making up these questions. Personally, when it comes to hunting, I used a lot of black powder rifles, muzzleloaders during my filming, but that's only because where I hunted this year, it was black powder only. It was muzzleloader only. But outside of that, let's see. I have a 30-06. It's a 670A. I think it is. I'm not sure. Anyways, it's a very nice rifle. It shoots very straight. I used to have a Rossi 243 triple threat. It was a break action, and it was very nice to shoot. But I think when it comes to firearms, personally, you may think I'm crazy for saying this, but the 12 gauge shotgun. I would show you the round that it shoots for deer hunting. It's called a slug. You can look it up. It's like a Hornady Sabo. I think that's the brand. They're called Sabos, but they're 45 caliber bullet that goes down the barrel, or they make ones that are like pretty much 50 caliber bullets that goes down the barrel, and it's one solid piece compared to your normal shotgun, which has several different pellets. Anyways, so let's see. But in general, sadly, I've never killed an animal besides a rabbit with a bow. But I enjoy shooting a bow because, you don't have that loudness, and it's more up close and personal compared to taking a 200, 300 yard shot with that 30-06 I was telling you about. Anyways, so on with other stuff. Let's see. What would a good question be? What's the most important thing of keeping conservation or being conservation minded? I guess that would be a good question. When it comes to being conservation minded, I think that's a very important thing. Don't litter. Don't, be wasteful with resources. If you're making a fire, make sure it's small. Don't make it really big and outside of a fire ring to where you catch the forest on fire, because as Smokey the Bear says, only you can prevent forest fires. But, yeah. Don't litter. Please don't litter. Personally, I think when it comes to building new stuff that we don't need, I think that we should just get rid of building new stuff. I mean, if we have one thing, but there's like several of them, like take McDonald's for instance. You got a McDonald's every couple miles. I think that's ridiculous or gas stations every couple miles. I think that's just a waste of space. That took away from an ecosystem where an animal lived. I don't like it when that happens because I think as Americans, as shepherds of the earth, or not shepherds, stewards of the earth, I think it is our duty to protect and serve the wilderness. Okay, so with that being said, like I said, I don't like it when people trophy hunt. I mean, they go for a big animal, they don't do anything except for keep the head to mount, or something like that. Let's see. Okay, so, you know, part of my inappropriate distraction, my phone. Here, I'll turn that off. Anyways, um, so, after that, besides that, you know, like I said, hunting, fishing, anything like that, camping, just being outside. You're closer to God because, you know, that is what it exactly, God is the one who made that stuff, not man. I mean, yeah, man can plant trees, but it is through God Himself that creates these and makes them to where they're just so beautiful. So, you know, I'd like to, like, I don't like it when people are, you know, biased against hunting and fishing and stuff like that because they think they're too violent or stuff like that. But personally, when it comes, I know I'm all over the place, but personally, when it comes to hunting, fishing, all that, population control is definitely something that falls into place. Because if there's, say hunters don't hunt for 5 years, you'll have an overpopulation of deer. The deer will eat all the grass and acorns and everything that deer eat, and then they'll start dying naturally. And then after that, you'll have predators dying, and after that, the entire ecosystem is just shot dead. So I think hunting takes away from that issue because of, you know, you don't have to worry about stuff. Anyways, so that being said, I think a proper way to end this project would be through a couple quotes. You know, I did a little research. You know, I knew pretty much all these things, but I had to research them so I could get the wording correctly. So, bear with me. Okay, so the first quote I have for you is from dogs barking, is from Ted Nugent. You know, he's a very famous rock star, very into the NRA, the National Riflemen's Association, and you know, all-around hunter, rock and roll. Yeah, he's a very good archer. My dad actually can say for a fact that he's shot competitive archery against Ted Nugent. If you ever look up Ted Nugent, he's plus archery. Yeah, he has his own shows on TV. I think it's the Outdoorsman Network. I hope to have a show on there someday, so I could be like, yeah, I'm on the same channel as Ted. Anyways, so the quote from Ted is, "Vegetarians are cool. All I eat are vegetarians, except for the occasional mountain lion." You know, I'm trying to be funny with that one. All right, so the next one, I'm getting into more serious stuff, is from the former U.S. Department of Interior Secretary Gale Norton. He said, "Dating back to Theodore Roosevelt, hunters have been the pillar of conservation in America, doing more than anyone to conserve wildlife and the habitat." So if you're a true hunter, you'll realize that being a hunter is important to life. You know, it's something that I plan on teaching my kids, so I expect to be able to do that. I hope that when my kids are growing up, you know, the ecosystem isn't just shot to bits, quite literally, or just destroyed to where hunting is no longer possible. Okay. Now, the next couple are all from the same guy, Fred Bear. If you know anything about Fred Bear, you're awesome. Just for the fact that you know that. He died back in 1988, I believe. He was very, very into archery, and you know, one of the guys who I mentioned earlier, Ted Nugent, actually has a song dedicated to him called Fred Bear. Anyways, so the first quote from Fred I got is, I know that this is a fail. Okay. Anyways, so the first one from Fred is, if some of our teenage thrill seekers really want to, hold on, let me reread this. Okay. If some of our teenage thrill seekers really want to get a thrill, let them go out to the Northwest and tangle with a grizzly bear, polar bear, and the brown bear. They will get their kicks. It will be a cleansing of their souls. You know, I've never tangled with a bear, but you know, that's just saying hunting in general, because you're out there and you're just taking in everything. It's a very zen feeling. And the next quote I have from Fred is, a hunt based on trophies taken falls short of what the ultimate goal should be. Time in commune with your inner soul as you share the outdoors with the birds, animals, and the fish that live there. Yeah. Okay, so the next one, I think this one is, very punny, but it's also very true. The next one is, when a hunter is in a tree stand with high moral values and with proper hunting ethics and richer for experience, the hunter is 20 feet closer to God. So, that's literal. Being you're in tree stands, they're normally about 20 feet tall into a tree. But besides that, you're closer to His creation, not man's creation. So with that, you have, you're one with nature, being one with God. Sorry to take that if you're not into that type of philosophy. Another good one, the final one that I have to say before I end this is, go afield with a good attitude. With respect for wildlife you hunt, and for the forest and fields in which you walk. Immerse yourself in the outdoor experience. It will cleanse your soul and make you a better person. I think hunting itself and fishing has taught me patience and self-control. Without that, I'd probably be all over the place. So, I think that is it. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comments of this video. Like I said earlier, I do not intend on this to be the final video of this channel, of Raytown Redneck Outdoors. But it is for my senior project. So, this is kind of awesome. But then again, I do intend on keep doing this, because, believe it or not, it has been a very fun experience. And it would not have been possible if it wasn't for you guys. So, like I said earlier, thank you very much for watching Raytown Redneck Outdoors. Feel free to watch all the other videos. Some of them are pretty cool. Actually, most of them are really cool, except for that first one. So, I gotta say it. I know you guys know I gotta say it. Remember, guys, keep your guns clean and your minds cleaner. Have a very nice day. This is the Raytown Redneck from Raytown Redneck Outdoors, Chris Scott. Over and out. That's my senior project.